In terms of workplace accommodations, I mean, it's a sort of more complicated word for a really sort of basic thing, which is sort of adapting the workplace to the person that lives with RA. So it could be things like a flexible start time. It could be, a new desk layout if people have a desk job. Could mean reconfiguring a physical space if someone works as a cashier or in a more physical role to have padding, on the floor or a stool, right? So they can take breaks throughout the day. So really, that's what workplace accommodation is. And employers in Canada, in different provinces and territories and federally, are required to accommodate their workers to the point of undue hardship. So there's an expectation there for employers to act and do something in order to support people with rheumatoid arthritis and other disabilities in the workplace. This can depend on the organization or the practices in place. I usually advise people to start by speaking to their supervisor, their immediate supervisor or boss, but I often, recommend doing a little bit of homework in order to prepare for that discussion. Not everyone is comfortable in necessarily relating some of their limitations or restrictions, and that's really the type of information that employers need in order to accommodate people. They don't necessarily need to know the diagnosis of RA. They just need to know what's affected at work. So I usually recommend that people look and see whether your employer has any human resources policies or procedures to start that, and to really reflect on what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing at work. What are some changes, if put in place, could really make it easier for you to get through the day and to contribute at work and be productive and healthy, right? So we also want to consider that we don't want to push your health and your body too far. And so that's really what the workplace accommodations are all about. And so really reflecting on, what are the one or two things that are most important to you, and going to your supervisor and raising those concerns. And then from there, the employers do ultimately have the responsibility to determine what accommodations are provided. But it's not to say that employees or workers don't have any say in it. So, they need to be actively involved in the process. They need to determine, are these accommodations working for them, as well as making any changes to that over time. As I mentioned before, with flares of RA, this can, change from one day to the other. And so you may need to put in place different sort of workplace accommodations when your disease is not doing as well, or when your health isn't doing as well. So I would just say get, prepared, stay involved in the process, and make sure that the employer is doing what they need to do, so that you can fully participate and be involved at work. Well, even speaking from myself as a person with rheumatoid arthritis, probably the most helpful for me was having a flexible start and end time in the day. That was really helpful to me because mornings were never good for me. I had a desk job, so I didn't have as many physical requirements, but there's still, having an ergonomic office set up and making sure that it supports your body. Things like the type of mouse that I use would also be helpful for my hands and that sort of thing. So really it varies depending on your job, but those are just some of the things that can be helpful to people. And to not forget that it could be little things that often don't cost a lot, like taking breaks throughout the day to give your body a break, is important in any job.